And now I request Dr. Hina ma'am to introduce our next speaker.
Sure. The next lecture is by Professor Dr. L. Srinivasamurthy. His qualification are MD, FRCP, Edinburgh, FICP, FRSSDI, FDCR. His designation is he's a professor and head of unit, senior consultant physician and diabetologist, principal investigator and medical director in the Institute of Life Care Hospital and Research Center and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Medical College. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we are going to talk about the new technology in our routine clinical practice. And so what's there literally for us as a practitioners, and that's going to be about Osmo laser technology, which is going to be the first time. And this is agenda of my talk, where we'll talk about the challenges in our routine practice with the immediate release formulations, implications of non-adherence, laser Osmo technology, and the evidence for the same. We know that the immediate release dosage forms have a lot of limitations in our routine practice. Recently, a focus on the development of controlled release drug delivery system has been in the increase as existing drugs exhibit certain pharmacokinetic limitations when it comes to the preparations. So controlled drug delivery systems are capable of controlling the rate of drug delivery, sustaining the duration of the therapeutic activity of a given drug. So though there are various technologies used in drug formulations to control this rate of delivery, and they're almost similar in achieving the delayed drug delivery, but there are technological differences which will definitely make each one of these technologies different from each other. Now, let us look at the different technologies which are used. So there are certain limitations in the conventional extended release formulations. We see a lot of preparations with the ER preparations. There are unpredictable plasma concentrations. There is a interference in the drug release by the presence of food and the pH at the stomach, and increased side effects or adverse events because of these extended release formulations. So in challenges in routine clinical practice, especially with metformin, before that, let us look at the adherence part in the diabetes management. As we can see, the patient adherence to therapy is about 62% of the patients take tablets correctly with relation to food. When you say before, after food, all that, only 62% of them stick on to this. 20% of them regularly forget to take their tablets. 5% omit tablets due to high blood sugars, and 2% omit because of low sugars. And look at this slide, which talks about the number of OHAs when it's once daily, twice daily, or 3 times a day, the adherence to the therapy, 79, 65, and 38%. So gradually, you can see the linear relationship literally when it becomes a TID preparation. So this is where the extended release formulations act very good for us to have improve the adherence with the patients. Now, this slide talks about the different drug classes and the treatment adherence. You look at any literally any class of drug, sulfonylureas, DPP4s, TZDs, or GLP-1s, look at the adherence is less than 50% for any class of drugs. Now, when it comes to metformin, we definitely find many challenges. And look at this slide, which clearly talks about the prevalence of GI symptoms with respect to the metformin. 71% of the patients report at least one tolerability issue on metformin therapy. 62% suffer GI side effects. 60% of them suffer GI side effects, very important, which can be diarrhea, heartburn, nausea, diarrhea, bloating. So this eventually translates for us as clinicians to in difficulty in dose up titration, poor adherence, and poor glycemic control. So patients with diabetes taking metformin have got the lowest of the adherence. And look at this study, which has analyzed about 16 lakh plus patients from 48 clinical studies. 25 different oral therapies were compared, including 19 injectables, out of which it clearly showed 30% of the metformin doses were not taken by the patients to which they were prescribed. So patients with diabetes on metformin were the least likely to take the required dosages compared to patients with diabetes of any other anti-diabetic drug, including the injectable. So very important study. 48 clinical studies analysis has clearly shown 30% of the metformin doses were not taken by the patients to which they were prescribed. Now, what does it result in? This non-adherence results in inadequate glycemic control, increased morbidity, mortality, increased cost of outpatient care, emergency room admissions, hospitalizations, etc. So this I will show you the evidence for these statements. At least 45% of these patients with diabetes fail to achieve adequate glycemic control. 45%. That means literally half of the patients with diabetes fail to achieve adequate glycemic control of target of A1C less than 7%. So look at this consequences, evidence I was talking about. 45% mortality is worsened, 41% CV mortality is worsened, and all-cause hospitalization, 38%. Now that's something alarming, because you know the cost of hospitalization in our country, because it's an out-of-pocket market. Patients have to pay from their pocket, from their routine household expenditure for this extra hospitalization because of the non-adherence. And there is worsening of stroke, nephropathy, retinopathy. You can look at the numbers, the percentage of increased risk because of non-adherence. So this is another survey, National Health and Wellness Survey, about 1,200 patients, diabetic patients, which clearly showed each 1 point drop in self-reported medication adherence was associated with worsening of A1C by 0.2, 4.6% of physician visits, and look at this, ER visits and hospital visits, 20% it is worsened or increased because of each 1 point drop in the self-reported medication adherence. Now, this is the evidence which I was talking about, the impact of treatment non-compliance on mortality in diabetic patients, and it's about 15,000 plus patients. The hazard ratio is clearly worsened, and it is associated with 1.6-fold increase in all-cause mortality when there is an impact of non-compliance. This is the impact of non-compliance. We are almost doubling their all-cause mortality by just non-adhering. So we need to spend a lot of time about this non-adherence and also the therapeutic inertia, what most of us will have because of the preparations. So now let us look at, if you improve the adherence, what happens? Does it matter? Yes, it does matter. And just 10% increase in compliance reduces A1C by 0.1% and annual healthcare cost up to 30%. Very, very important. As I said, in India, our market is out-of-pocket market. The patient has to pay from his pocket, and reduction 30% of healthcare cost and improvement in compliance also translates into reduction in the deaths and reduction in the CV events. You can very clearly see 240 deaths per 10,000 and 152 CV events per 10,000, which is very, very significant in our practice in Indian perspective, what I'm saying. So high level of adherence is as effective as adding a second drug. So remember this, high level of adherence, we should ensure to our patients that is as good as adding a second anti-hyperglycemic drug in our practice. So that's something, again, cost benefit is translated to the patients. Now let us move on to the Osmo laser technology, the point of interest today. It is to overcome the challenges of existing extended release formulations. A novel technology of drug delivery system has been researched, and this is called as a Osmo technology. And this is nothing but osmosis mediated oral drug delivery system technology. Now, how does it work? We know osmosis by definition, net movement of water across a selectively permeable membrane driven by the difference in the osmotic pressure across the membrane. So this is how a tablet looks. It has got these layers, the outermost layer being the glimepiride. In this example, with metformin glimepiride combination I'm talking about, you can see the glimepiride, which dissolves once it comes in contact with your GI fluid in the stomach. And it exposes this green colored, the semi-permeable membrane, which is osmosis occurs through this semi-permeable membrane and through this laser drilled very tiny hole in the middle. This is a laser drilled hole in the middle, and this permeable membrane permits to percolate the osmosis across the semi-permeable membrane into this swellable push layer, which is in the red bottom, you can see, and this pushes through this hole the metformin, which is light blue colored, you can see, through this hole very slowly in a controlled manner. And this is the speciality of this osmosis drilling. The laser drilling of this technology is very important to have this push layer pushing the or releasing the metformin in a controlled, timely manner. And this technology gives us the drug release independent of motility, pH, or food. It provides a delivery rate of zero order. A delivery may be delayed or pulsed if required. We can manipulate, and achieves higher and predictable release rates. And it has got a similarity of high degree, both in vivo and in vitro correlation. Very important. In vivo and in vitro, it behaves in a similar fashion. So the currently available extended release formulations of glimepiride metformin have utilized various technologies. And these technologies, definitely, there are differences in this controlled release drug delivery system, which results in different clinical outcomes, including the adverse events. But this innovative Osmo laser technology has been incorporated into this glimepiride metformin combination for achieving prolonged glycemic control and to overcome this GI intolerance. So there is a predictable drug release, 30% lower Cmax, sustained plasma concentration for prolonged period, and no dose dumping happens because of this sustained controlled manner of release through this laser technology. Now let us look at the evidence. We are talking about evidence for this OSMO technology, and look at this review article by our own people, Osmotic Controlled Drug Delivery System and its Impact on Diabetes Care. What is the summary? It clearly said the OSMO technology is the most promising strategy-based system for sustained delivery of drug, and this OSMO technology appears to be a promising solution for the limitations of conventional extended release formulations by virtue of their distinguished technological features. So this novel OSMO technology definitely offers a distinct clinical advantages to our patients of diabetes, ensuring predictable therapeutic plasma concentration, resulting into lesser adverse events, provides prolonged duration of action, and thus improve the medication adherence. End of the day, we are worried about the medication adherence, which we saw the implications of which, and this minimizes this medication adherence default by the patients. So the technological difference definitely has translated into lesser GI side effects, smoother up titration, improved medication adherence, and above all, prolonged glycemic or sustained glycemic control, which is what we look at for any given drug. Now, what are the ongoing clinical studies? I showed you one evidence, and this is called as an OSMO study, which is a phase 4 study, wherein they're comparing a conventionally available extended release formulations of metformin and glimepiride versus the OSMO technology of OCAD, that is omeglimide. They have compared this head-on comparison. And there is an OG-RISE study, which is a single-arm study, PMS study, wherein they're studying about the outcomes at the end of 3 and 6 months, including the adverse events. This is a single-arm study, the OG-RISE study. So very important point that there are ongoing clinical evidences, which are real-world evidences, which we require to prove the efficacy, and thus we have more science to believe in. And there are some more anti-diabetic agents which are manufactured by the same OSMO laser technology, which are in pipeline. And one of the most important thing, I'm sure all of you will be very happy to see this, that we know in patients with CKD and patients who are on sulfonylurea, vildagliptin has to be given once a day. And we know vildagliptin once a day gives you submaximal trough of DPP-4 inhibition only for up to about 12 hours. And this is something where we need to have patients of vildagliptin with 50 mg once a daily will be deprived of prolonged DPP-4 inhibition. So to overcome this, because we have to make it because of the EGFR less, and we need to give once a day of vildagliptin. So to overcome this, vildagliptin 50 mg sustained release through OSMO laser tablet has been designed. And this prolonged DPP-4 inhibition with once a daily 50 mg sustained release for 20 hours compared to 13 hours with conventional vilda of immediate release of 50 mg. So very important, the technology has been utilized for the benefits of our patients, especially in this high-risk group who have sulfonylureas or CKD. So the same duration of DPP-4 inhibition happens with 100 mg SR. This is the first time they are studying the OSMO laser tablet, 100 mg of vilda, sustained release through OSMO laser technology. And this is going to be, I'm sure, a game changer for us in practice. And these already PKPD studies have been submitted to DCJ. DCJ has given approval, and there is an improved medication adherence, improved glycemic control with this. I'm sure this will be translated in near future to our practice, and this will be definitely a game changer in our routine practice. The compliance and the adherence, our patients will definitely benefit with this technology of vilda 50 mg and also 100 mg sustained release. So thank you very much for the patient hearing, and any questions I'll be very, very happy to answer. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful session.